Hi, and I'm Adam with Alan's BMX, and today we're going to compare the new Skyway Street Beat 2024 reissue frames, this green one, with an original 1984, I believe the customer told me, Street Beat frame. There are a few differences, we're going to go through them with you. This guy just dropped this off with me the other day to get some work done. He'd managed to strip the thread off his forks when he was trying to fit the headset. I've recut the threads in for him, I've got the headset fitted, and he's given me permission to use his frame for this video. So there's a few differences you can see just visually. Firstly, the new one uses modern geometry, and as such, it is a lot longer. This is a 21-inch top tube. From the seat tube to the head tube, it is 21 inches, whereas the originals were closer to 18 or 18.5, so it's a much longer frame, straight out. Secondly, the mechanical components of how it all goes together. Again, the newer models, the 2024s, use modern components because they built these to actually be ridden. These are not built as a showpiece. You could take these to the skate park if you wanted to. So firstly, we'll start with the front and work our way backwards. The headset on the reissue frame is an integrated modern headset, 1 1/8. And you can tell that because the cups are actually built into the frame, whereas if you compare it to the original, you'll see I've used the Tange MX320 headset here, where the cups are pressed in separately. And this uses a 1-inch fork, so a narrower fork steerer with a threaded top. And the new one uses a standard 1 1/8 fork with a smooth steerer, no threads. It's for a modern clamp-on stem. Secondly, at the front end here, we've got obviously the AD990 brake mounts here for a traditional modern U-brake, compared to just the hole drilled through the forks here for an MX890, MX1000, the standard old caliper. Also, I've just noticed as I've laid these out here, if we compare the dropouts, we can see they've beefed out the dropouts on the new one significantly. There's a lot more weld here compared to here. I'd say you've got an extra 1.5 inches of weld there, quite a lot, so that's nice. Moving backwards, the actual body of the frame itself, underneath here, it's going to be difficult for you to see, but you actually get mounts for the brake cable. Whereas in the 80s, you get a Velcro strap or a zip tie or whatever you want, and you just tie the cable to the frame. On this, you actually get the removable mount, so you can route your cable down here and it looks nice and neat. The new ones also, in the 2024, again, might be difficult to pick up on camera, but along the platform, so along here and here, typically where you're going to jam your feet up for the Flatland stuff, is actually knurled on the frame. You get a little bit of texture to aid with the added grip. If it's a little bit wet or your shoes are a little bit slick, that knurling just helps give you a little bit of grip. Didn't get that on the original. You got it flattened out, so you still got the flat platforms to stand on, but no knurling, and obviously no brake mounts under here. Moving backwards again, I suppose the back end here on the 1984 I have is just a standard welded tube with nothing extra there basically. But on the new ones, again, this is something I just noticed today comparing these two, you actually get an extra sort of piece of metal here with a nice Skyway logo stamped into the metal, so that's nice, a little bit something extra to stand on. Next is seat posts. So on the old original 1984, you're going to have the standard 22.2 seat post, which will accept a 25.4 seat clamp. On the new one, again, modern components, so it uses a modern 25.4 post and a 28.6 seat clamp. That's how they're going to go together for you. And again, at the back end, we have the 990 mounts here for a much stronger, separately springed. You got 2 springs on each, well, 1 spring on each side, 2 springs total on the U brake, so much stronger brake. And again, on the 84, just a standard hole drill through the metal for your MX890, your MX1000, your Bulldog, whatever you want to run. What else have we got? Of course, the bottom bracket, that's a big one. So this modern reproduction, the 2024 reissue of the Skyway, uses a modern mid-bottom bracket. Now that is just the bearing that pushes into the frame. The old one uses something you're probably more familiar with, which is the American or US size bottom bracket. Now I believe the mid-bottom bracket will measure in at 41 millimeters across. I believe I'm right in saying this. And the American is 51 millimeters across. So what that means is on the old ones, you'd have to have a separate cup that pushed into the frame and then the bearing pushed into the cup. On the new one, we forego the cup. We just take that bearing out and we press it straight into the frame. So a little bit stronger, a little bit less to go wrong, better, again, designed to be built. Also on the new ones, this is something obviously they didn't need on the old ones, because on the older ones, the back end of the frame where the rear wheel goes in, where it sort of parts out there, is much narrower, because back in the day 2.4 tyres didn't exist. You didn't need that room. So they made them much narrower, which in turn meant you can run a big 44 tooth chainring, which is what you used to see in 44/16 standard gearing, right? Modern frames don't use 44s, they use 25/9. Now that is the exact same gear ratio, you're getting the exact same output, it's just smaller rings. It's designed that way so you'd stop hooking up your sprocket on the coping and stuff. They just made everything smaller, it's a little bit better. However, Skyway have thrown us a bone with these reissues. You'll see this little divot here, which means although this is a modern frame and you could run a 25/9, they've also given you the option to run a 44/16. And in tandem with that, they've left the rear dropouts 10 millimeters standard for old school. You want to put a pair of Skyways on there, knock yourself out. Typically modern frames use a 14 millimeter dropout. This uses a 10, so you could still get the option of, you want to run 44/16, make it look old school, brilliant, it's a showpiece. You want to run 25/9, take it to the skate park, brilliant. So, I believe that is really all of the differences. There are some small things, obviously. This new one comes with gyro tabs here, so if you wanted to run a gyro, you don't need to run that bottom plate. In fact, you can't with an integrated headset, that's why they've done it. Whereas the modern one, obviously, you'd have to use that bottom cup and the bottom plate, sorry, and that'd be held in by the headset cup. But yeah, really nice frames. I mean, you can look at them. They've done a really good job. You've still got the gusset here. You've still got the nice platform at the back end with that odd shaped dip. You've still got the coaster mounts as well on both. So if you wanted to run a coaster rear brake, you can do. That's excellent. Yeah, really fantastic reissues. Been quite impressed with these. If you want to see me build one up in detail, check out one of our previous videos on this channel. It's me building up, well, me and my colleague Tom, we built up one of the Chrome Skyway reissues. We did a full build on that, went in depth a little bit more. If you want to watch that, please feel free, check out the channel, you can find it. If you want to order one of these, they're going to be available on allansbmx.com. And if you want us to build it for you, just give us a list of parts. I'll throw it together, it's not a problem. We can deliver it as a complete bike, ready to ride away. Check out allansbmx.com, check out the YouTube channel, we're always uploading stuff, check out the Instagram. And yeah, thanks very much. I've been Adam for Allans BMX.